Hey guys, so day after the election, this isn't going to be one of these liberals trying to cope with, oh, we've lost our democracy and people are losing rights and I'm so sad. Yeah, I'm the liberal. You watch the video to see the liberal tears. That's not what you're going to watch with this video. Things are going to get really stupid in the next 4 years, guys. The only reason I'm making this video is because I don't really like making political videos that much. I like talking about dumb things like, I don't know, this director is good, this director is bad, the Waffle House Index, a conspiracy about caffeinated drinks. And occasionally I'll make a political video because I just kind of get annoyed and angry and have to vent. So this is just me being a completist, because if I've made one political video in the past, there'll probably be maybe a few dozen people or maybe a few hundred people who watch this. But I feel like I have to make it because, well, it's the day after the election. So how do I feel? I like living in a boring world. I like living in a boring world that runs smoothly, right? Unfortunately, people don't appreciate boring. It's kind of like that thing where people feel they have to do something to even if you don't really have to do anything, right? Or the thing that you need to do, which would improve, is itself kind of boring. So the economy, when it works right, it's kind of boring. Here's an example. Inflation. We know inflation's been bad, but here's the thing, guys. Inflation was bad all over the world. That wasn't because of our politicians. It was because of the pandemic. And in fact, inflation was not as bad in the United States as it was in other countries. You can see a congressional hearing where they actually talk about this. And that was one of the policies that Biden pushed. And I'm not saying that Biden's the greatest guy in the world. This policy with Palestine is disgusting. That in itself makes me literally hate the man. But in this regard, he did the right thing. Matter of fact, he probably could have done more if he hadn't been hampered by the legislative branch. But that's kind of boring because it was some policy, and when things work correctly, you don't really notice them, or you don't notice them as much, right? But that's like I said, it's boring. So people like exciting, right? 20% tariff on China. Deporting, the greatest deportation the country's ever known. That sort of thing. Guys, this is going to be really stupid. It's going to be really stupid. Because first of all, the man says he's going to do something. The man being Trump. And I just take it at face value. And so many of the things he says he's going to do are going to really mess up the economy. Probably. The 20% tariff, you can try to explain people over and over again that it's going to be a tax on consumers. But no, he keeps telling people China's going to pay for it. China's going to pay for it. And you guys, you stupid assholes really believe that in large numbers, because the biggest concern was the economy. Although everything that this guy says that he's going to do that either directly or indirectly relates to the economy is going to make it worse. You have The Economist saying this. The Economist magazine. It's a conservative magazine. Don't listen. You have actual economists saying this. Don't listen. But let's say you don't want to listen to them because they're a bunch of stuck-up PhDs in their ivory towers smelling their own farts and wearing tweed jackets and shit. Use your common sense. You drive by a construction site. Who do you see working construction? Probably the same people who may end up getting kicked out of the country. If they don't get kicked out of the country, their family members maybe get kicked out of the country. You say, well, that's a stereotype. Well, it's the reality of it. And even if they don't get kicked out of the country, it's going to probably make a more hostile environment for these people. Who's picking your fruit? Who's picking your vegetables? Also do another thing. Flip over the things that you buy and see where it's made. How many of them are made in China? Now, when you put a 20% tariff on that, do you think that those items aren't going to go up in price? You other people who work in manufacturing, who work in agriculture, your supplies, your tools, your iron, your whatever, a lot of that comes from China. Why is it not why does this not come from the U.S.? Because it's cheaper? It's cheaper from China, right? So you have two options now. One, you either buy the more expensive material from China, the more expensive steel from China, or you get the more expensive material from the U.S., which I guess in theory it could help stimulate the economy, maybe, but it's going to definitely drive up inflation, because what you're doing now is you're kind of messing up this thing called comparative advantage. I'm getting a little too eggheady here, though, so let's not go into that, because now I'm sounding like one of these tweed jacket wearing assholes in academia. But use some common sense. Look around you. But it doesn't matter, because you had someone who said they're going to do things. You'll want boring. Boring is nice. But boring's not good for you people. So now you're going to get some excitement. And boy, things are going to get really stupid in the next 4 years. God, it's going to get stupid. It's going to get really, really stupid.